on the Varsity Podcast Network, driven by Geico. Whether you rent or own, Geico makes it easy to bundle home and car insurance. Having a home is hard work. Get a quote at geico.com. Easy.
On the Gophers Sports Network from Learfield. This is Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson. Brought to you by alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors, Minnesota's largest seller of companies. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com. Now, Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson. Here are your hosts, Justin Guard and the voice of the Gophers, Mike Grimm.
Welcome to another edition of Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson, Mike Grimm, and Justin Guard with you. And man, it seems like we just did this show last week, and there's not been a lot of new news, certainly no new games. We're going to talk with the head coach about that. First of all, JG, good to see you.
I'm cold, man. I'm cold. I liked last week when we went outside right after the show. We looked at some mountains. We got ready for a football game, and now we're just hanging out.
Have you been outside lately, though?
I stayed in literally the entire weekend because it was so cold.
If you go outside right now, it legit feels like a heat wave. I swear to God.
I know. You're right. No,
today I literally just didn't even have my jacket on.
I know. I bundled my kids up for school today. I'm like, oh, they're not outside. We've gotten kind of soft. They could play outside. The real feel was like 10 degrees. I was surprised. But you're right. It does, which is sick and it's sad. But that's all right. That's how we roll here in Minnesota. So I'm good with it.
Maybe you could do some, a shoot around on the blacktop today, Coach. Maybe that's what you could do since it's so warm here, huh?
I think I'll let Illinois do that.
Yeah, they can do the outdoor deal. Hey, so kind of a weird week, obviously. Last week, in fact, it was you and I was literally about, one sentence into our pregame interview that we tape right after your shoot-around. I'm like, welcome back to the Golden Gopher pregame show, and your director of ops and associate AD, Ryan Livingston, comes over and gives us the cut-it-off sign, like, what's going on? And he said, we just got an email, and then there was some more stuff that happened after that to try to figure it all out. But at the end of the day, man, that was a bummer. About 3 hours before tip-off, you find out that Alcorn State had popped enough positives to have to force that game to not happen.
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, I think the first thing, obviously, is you hope, everybody involved is okay. And once we got kind of word that it was manageable and they were good, then you just kind of break the news to the guys. They were obviously excited, just got done with shoot around, and guys were mentally getting ready to play in a couple hours. And so there's kind of the disappointment of it. But, at the same time, it is what it is. And you got to be able to adapt and kind of change the course. And so, guys were down. Obviously, you were ready to compete and we're excited to go out and play that game. But, it kind of, like I said, it is what it is. And you got to be able to move on and adjust. And so took a couple of days off and was able to tweak our practice schedule. And now we're up and ready and running and ready to roll.
Yeah, so what does get tweaked? Go ahead, Grimmer, but I just wanted to say, what does get tweaked then when you think you're going to have a game and then probably unpacking the game and then moving on towards Big Ten play, which, by the way, also got tweaked. I'm sure we'll talk about that. We talked about that last week. So how do you just kind of change things on the fly?
Yeah, the biggest thing is with your off days. So then you look at your calendar because you're assuming that, guys are going to log, significant minutes on a Sunday. And that impacts when your next off day would be, and then it impacts the rest of your week leading up to, your next game. And so you're just trying to figure out, okay, so we kind of took that day semi off with just a light shoot around. Okay, then what days are we gonna go, tomorrow and get in some work tomorrow since we were kind of off today to keep the legs going. Then we'll take a different day off. And then your next thought is, okay, we kind of knew that the team we're playing on Tuesday had a little bit of an issue. So now you're trying to feel like, okay, is this going to be a back-to-back thing? And then you got to maneuver the schedule again. So, it's just a lot of moving parts and pieces, and you just try to have a lot of communication and talk and just be flexible. Again, I think that's the key word is you got to be able to adapt. You got to be flexible. Players were really good and understanding about it. You just kind of plan accordingly.
Yeah, and I guess my follow-up to it, too, is, the technical guidelines I think that the Big Ten Conference has put out, which may or may not apply to a non-conference game like the Alcorn State game, but certainly for the Fighting Illini game, is, you need 7 players and at least a coach, whether it's the head coach or whether it's an assistant or what have you. But there's also, right, that fine line between, all right, they got 7 guys and an assistant, just to throw it out. I don't know what the numbers really are. Do we really want to play against those guys? Because we don't know one of those guys might be infected, and all of a sudden we get it. So is it better just not to play Alcorn State? Even I know there was a moment where like, hey, we got to push this and find out really what their situation is, and you have to do that. But at some point, it's probably just better to say, look, we don't want to get hit with this thing either, and they may have somebody running around in the court that we don't know about.
Right. I think everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to get games in, players, coaches included, fans. But I think you got to think big picture. And the hard thing about the Alcorn State situation was because it was day of, you don't know who that coach was in contact with. And they had a shoot around, and I'm sure they had a team breakfast and a meal. And you just, that's the hard part about COVID right now is you can't trace it. So you don't know. And so, that definitely goes into your thought process a little bit was, okay, when do we think possibly they were contacted, and then try to figure out, all right, if they were around everybody else in the program, well, then, yeah, there could be a chance that if not today, tomorrow, the next day, that those guys are going to test positive. And if we're, going at it for 40 minutes, well, you're running the risk. So there's a lot to factor in. That's why we kind of leave it up to the team physician and the doctors and the people that know the numbers and the counts and all that stuff, and let them kind of figure it out. And again, you just kind of roll with the punches.
So what is the succession plan, hypothetically, if Ben Johnson tests positive for COVID? And how far down the list do you have to get before Mike Grimm ends up, or Chris Hockey, who's been a volunteer coach, where Chris Hockey's actually up there on the floor at the barn, at least doing something, maybe not being the head coach, but being involved. What's that look like?
Well, I was going to say it probably starts with Hockey. I think he's earned that right. And then after that, we'll figure out plan B, C, and D. Grimm, you're probably a distant third, but you know the system. You've been around the program. You understand it. Probably got to get a couple of guys on my staff a look first, but if they get it, you're right there. So you kind of got to be that guy. You're in the hole. In baseball, you're in the hole.
Yeah,
you're the third string quarterback. Right. You gotta be ready.
I'm inactive, but you might have to activate me mid game. I could maybe do the game and coach, signal from the they know where I sit up there,
You can do, we call that doing both. You can do both.
Yeah, and I do enough coaching on the air anyway, Well,
that's my biggest issue with Grimmer being involved is you're going to need a quick succession for after him when he gets teed up twice, gets tossed.
Gets booted after 5 minutes, yeah.
And Spencer's probably not paying attention, so he probably doesn't know how the flow's going. So just don't get COVID, Ben. Yeah. I think that's what we're saying.
That's the whole.
Take care of yourself.
That'll be the whole plan.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and then the other, follow up to that is, all right, you're 4 hours from tip off. You get notified. For a moment, I suppose you're thinking, is there somebody that you can play? Can we schedule a quick game? Can we scrimmage somebody? And then, when you're thinking about it, it probably is nearly impossible on that short notice. Maybe if it was a day before, you could have thrown something together and a team could jump on a bus and you could figure it out. There have been a few teams that have scheduled, 24 hours out, but that also puts you in a bind with how close it was to tip.
Yeah, it does. And I think, the first thing you think about is, all right, do we go back out and practice for another 45 minutes just to keep your legs? And then, by that time, the guys had already showered and they're kind of out of it. So it's like you can't get them back up to get in practice mode and you're risking too much. So then my next thought was, okay, we have to figure out if we're playing on Sunday.
Right.
Because if we're not, and that gets pushed back, well, then let's find a game in the next day or two that we can book. So at least we're competing, we're getting a game in. And so that was kind of the next idea. I figured, the day of it's too hard to call somebody and get somebody here, whether that's a local, D3 team even. It's just the logistics make it too hard. But I think the next part was just trying to figure out, what's the situation with Illinois? Are we going to play? Is it going to be pushed back? Are we not? And then you can plan to get another game. Because I think at the end of the day, you just don't want to go, 9-10 days without playing. That's the hardest one. We've all kind of been there and done that. And, it is really hard to get back into rhythm when you're off for that long.
So how lucky do you feel that Illinois got postponed by 2 days, basically, right? From Sunday to Tuesday? And how did that all come together, right? We're lucky that they had an opening, you had an opening, the barn's open and everything.
Yeah, it worked out because, obviously we were in our bye week. And so, we had a little flexibility. Obviously, we would have loved to have played yesterday and played on Sunday and had the crowd and kept the schedule and been able to get our bye week. But again, you just want to get games in. I think that's the biggest thing. It's, you start pushing stuff back to the back end of your schedule. That's when it gets tricky. And that's when you're looking at maybe, playing 3 games in a week. which is really tough, especially towards the end of the year. So I think when you're healthy and you're able to play, you want to try to get in as many games as you can and kind of fit it in. So, fortunate for us, we had an opening and they did, and we're able to battle on Tuesday.
Yeah, and you're, in essence, I think it's 13 days, both teams last played on December 22nd, talking about Minnesota and Illinois. But had the game just been, if Illinois couldn't have fielded a team and you're just off for a whole nother week, you think you would have scheduled some sort of a non-conference game this week at some point?
Yeah, we would have found it. We would have found a game and found a team. I know there's a lot that are out there looking, and it would have had to have made sense and make sure that we're good within the Big Ten and within administration to do it. But that was going to be the next plan to figure out who makes sense, who's got a date available, are we able to do it, and if so, let's get somebody here and on the books and get back playing.
So how do you get a handle on really how the guys feel right now when you have that run of games, in December, and then you've got finals. Now we've got these COVID deals. So how do you kind of keep your finger on the pulse? Like, all right, our legs are good. We're fresh. We've talked a lot about the minutes guys have played, but certainly they're built to do that. So how do you feel like you are, I guess, right now in terms of, or will we all find out together, Tuesday at 6:00?
Yeah, no, there'll be a little bit of that. No, I think, just having a pulse. You weren't around these guys so much. You ask questions. Our strength coach, Feldy, does a great job. He's got all these different tests he can run and, with body maintenance and leg activity and all that certain stuff. And our guys are pretty honest. I talk to them pretty openly about, how do you feel? What hurts? What doesn't? Scale of 1 to 10, where are your legs at? So we're just always in constant communication, and then we're smart with how we practice. We're smart with making sure we use our off days, and when they're off, and they're getting that rest. And when we're on, we're going in short bursts, and we're being smart with the activity that we do have, and at the same time, still keeping their conditioning at a level that they need to play in a game. But our guys also, they do a great job of coming in on their own. If a guy doesn't feel like he's getting enough work in, a lot of guys will come in and shoot or might get on the elliptical or something like that. So it's just an ongoing process. And I think the benefit of last year is everybody's been through it, and these guys know their bodies, and they know what game shape feels like, and they know when they're out of shape, and they know if they need to get in more work or if they need less work. And so honestly, I don't really worry about it. It's more of the mental piece. It's more of these guys, when you're off for that long, staying mentally sharp. And having that same championship mindset that I think I worry about more than anything.
All right, let's take our first break. Segment 1 is in the books. Tonight it's Minnesota and Illinois, 6 o'clock at Williams Arena. There are still tickets available. Gophersports.com as Big Ten play resumes. We want to thank Sunbelt Business Advisors. They should be on your team roster if you're buying or selling a business, and there's never been a better time to sell than right now. You can get your Sunbelt no-cost confidential business valuation today. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com. We thank them for their support of Gopher Athletics. We'll come back. We'll preview tonight's game. We've got more to talk about. It's Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson from Learfield.
When it comes to home renovation or project cleanup, Waste Management's Bagster Bag is one strong receiver. The Bagster dumpster in a bag can hold up to 3,300 pounds of debris. That's about the weight of the entire Golden Gophers first team offense plus 3 cheerleaders. The Bagster Bag is just the right size for kitchen and bathroom remodels or basement and garage cleanups. And it can cost 50% less than renting a full-size dumpster, making it the perfect solution for your next project. To make the Bagster Bag part of your cleanup playbook, visit thebagster.com.
Visit the University of Minnesota bookstores and discover the area's largest selection of U of M and Golden Gopher apparel and novelties for fans of all ages. From the latest fashions to traditional favorites, the University of Minnesota bookstore is your one-stop shop. See what's in store for you. Visit the University of Minnesota bookstore at Kaufman Memorial Union in the heart of the U of M campus, or shop online at bookstores.umn.edu. And never miss a sale. Subscribe to the Gopher Fan Favorites email list. You'll be glad you did.
No matter what kind of vehicle you're looking for, your Northland Ford dealers have you covered with exclusive offers on top-notch cars, trucks, and SUVs for every kind of lifestyle. Like the Ford F-150, a beast with brains that makes even the toughest tasks look easy. Or the Ford Explorer and Escape, SUVs that the whole family can appreciate. Plus, the Ford Bronco Sport, an SUV built for thrill seekers and outdoor enthusiasts. Visit your Northland Ford dealers today to find a great deal on the perfect one for you.
Midland Hills Country Club is well known as one of the finest golf clubs in the Twin Cities. The club has totally renovated its classic Seth Rayner design course back to its original design. Enjoy a meticulously maintained course and experience what Midland Hills Country Club has to offer. Midland Hills is conveniently located in Roseville, just 10 minutes from either downtown. A limited number of memberships are available. The club offers a great golfing experience and a comfortable social atmosphere. Visit midlandhillscc.org.
You can guarantee yourself a Minnesota Maroon and Gold win when you sell your business with Sunbelt Business Advisors. Sunbelt is a local, alumni-owned company and proud sponsor of Gopher Athletics. Sunbelt provides business brokerage services to small businesses, as well as mergers and acquisition services for companies up to $100 million in revenue. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com for a free confidential value range. Minnesota's largest seller of companies. sunbeltminnesota.com.
Abbott, a longtime supporter of Gopher Athletics, is pleased to bring to Gopher fans the Gopher Scoreboard of Excellence. Head to gophersports.com, and in the lower right-hand corner of the home screen, you'll find a link that will take you directly to the Scoreboard of Excellence. Find updated student-athlete, academic, and athletic achievements, and so much more. The Gopher Scoreboard of Excellence, brought to you exclusively by Abbott, unlocking the potential in all of us.
How do you treat cancer?
At mHealth Fairview,
we know that treating cancer starts with caring for you.
So we care
with everything we've got.
We care with our drive,
our passion, from losing people we love,
and relentless optimism
in the face of uncertainty.
Because at mHealth Fairview, we don't just treat cancer.
We treat you.
Hey, sports fans, there's no better way to cheer on the Gopher men's basketball team than from a Barnloft suite at Williams Arena. On sale now. Make it a corporate event. Bring family or friends. Host a birthday party. Try a single-game Golden Gopher men's basketball Barnloft suite with a great view of the floor. Don't miss out. Call Danielle Bloom, Director of Suite Sales, at 612-626-1064. Go Gophers!
Local Minneapolis ticket seller Ticket King offers those hard-to-get tickets for events all over. Purchase tickets with confidence for your favorite local sports teams, concerts, and theater performances. Visit TicketKingOnline.com yourself and see how easy it is to purchase tickets to your favorite events both locally and across the country. Ticket King is your 100% guaranteed source for tickets and no surprise fees. Ticket King. If it's here, we're the ticket.
It's a new season. Get ready for more men's and women's college sports excellence. Trophies will be awarded in June to schools who take the top spot in the 2021-22 Learfield Directors Cup. The premier award recognizes one winning institution in all competitive divisions. Follow your favorite team's progress as seasonal standings are announced at L Directors Cup on Twitter and online at directorscup.org. The crowning achievement in college athletics.
Welcome back. It's Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson. Tonight it's Minnesota and Illinois at the Barn, 6 o'clock the tip. Tickets available at gophersports.com. Hey, we want to remind you, if you have a question for Coach Ben Johnson, you can submit that question at gophersports.com/askthecoach. If your question's selected, we'll ask Coach Johnson during the Gopher Basketball Radio Show. And if you're the pick, you'll receive a $25 gift card from the University of Minnesota bookstore. And Coach, we're going to start this segment with the question, and it kind of goes back to one of the topics we talked about in the opening segment, and it's about the Alcorn State game. This is Tom from Owatonna. He is our question of the week. He'll get a $25 gift card from the bookstore, and he wants to know what the late notice in the Illinois game getting pushed back 2 days. Was there any thought given to potentially scheduling St. Thomas or another local team? And by the way, he says, P.S. great work, love the way the team plays. So we hit on that just briefly, but I do think that's an interesting situation. You've got some D2 teams, D3 teams. They wouldn't count at the schedule, but they can jump in a bus, and some of them could be here in 10 minutes, right? And so how did you determine all of that stuff?
You know, it's you think about it just like you think about everything. The hard part is that now you as a coach, you think worst case scenario. So it's like, okay, we play a D2 or a D3 team and it's a non-counter and, something happens. I wouldn't be able to live with myself in something like that. So, it's there's a difference between playing that type of game and if you play somebody that's a Division I school that, your guys are going to be all in on and they're fully bought in. That's a different story. But even with that, you always balance all right, what's the risk reward? Are we doing too much? Are we being greedy? Are we pushing it? Should we just, the good thing about us is like in the Big Ten, we have, I think, 11 quad one games in the Big Ten. So, are we a program where like if we missed a game, do we have to find another one? No, it's honestly more for just where we feel about our rhythm. If I knew we were going to be out over 15 games or 15 days, different story. But, to know that potentially you're only going to be out, maybe 7, 8 games or 8 days without a game. I don't think you push the panic button because of, a positive or a negative outcome, I guess to say. So, we thought about it, but, I think that just long term, you just worry about what could happen. And I love Tower, and I've talked to him many times.
At St.
Great
Thomas,
guy.
yeah.
I don't think we're ever going to play St. Thomas.
Really?
I've told him that. And it's no disrespect. It's just, it's kind of we'll just leave it at that, but I do think maybe partnering with them down the road on doing maybe some joint games where, maybe it's a doubleheader or something like that. I'd be all about. And again, I think he does a great job and wish him nothing but success. But I think, right now we're probably going to stay away from that game.
Well, and they're off to a pretty decent start for year one, given, where they're coming from and what they're trying to accomplish. That said, they also had a game that same night. So it wasn't, I know some people I saw on Twitter were like, well, just call St. Thomas, but they were already scheduled for a game that evening anyway. Whether you were going to potentially play them or not, it was impossible for that particular night.
Yeah.
I love that though, because I know a lot of the local coaches, right? Like the D2s and the D3s, and they're always, every time you see them, they're probably shaking you down for a game, right? You were probably, Jacobson was doing that at Northern Iowa, right? When you were an assistant for him. That's life at the lower levels. But when you're at the Big Ten, like you say, hey, I love you guys. Yeah, we can go hang out at the Final Four, but no, we're not bringing your team here. Sorry. Yeah. I don't think like that doesn't make you unique. That's just kind of, I remember talking to Mike Young, who's at Virginia Tech right now. I remember literally talking to him at the Final Four saying, so you guys are really good. Was he at Wofford before? I think that's where he was. And you guys are really good. It must be really hard. And I've talked to Jake about this, about scheduling, getting Power Fives and getting games. And he said, yeah, nobody wants to play us. And then like 30 minutes later, Mike Young was the coach of Virginia Tech. And I'm like, I guarantee you, he's not remembering how bad he felt as a Wofford coach trying to get games. Now he's not calling anybody back from that league, right?
And there's no way it's not like Mike's going to go play Wofford and do them a favor.
Exactly right. Exactly
right. It'd be like us, North Carolina's not coming here on their own to play us for a home game. Like, it's just not going to happen. I think, even when I was at Xavier, the Xavier-Cincinnati game, it'll be different now because now Cincinnati's going to be in the Big 12. So now you got Big 12 versus Big East. Don't get me wrong, like the rivalry was still there, but, when they're in a quote-unquote non-power 6 type conference, it is a little bit different because now it's more of you're playing the game because it's the history, the tradition, but it's still not quite the same because it's a different level. And I do think there is a lot to that. And, everybody's got to do what's right for their program. And I understand the fan base probably would love it. And I understand that, to some people, it just makes sense and the location and all that stuff. But, it's got to make sense for us in our program. And so, like I said, right now we'll look elsewhere to build the schedule.
And that can be a topic certainly other weeks down the road in terms of general philosophies. But I do want to follow up because I know Richard Pitino did not like to play in exempt tournaments. He preferred just to, schedule a different kind of game where you're getting 2 games, you know who you are playing, as opposed to you get into a tournament you're not sure, other than the first round, who you'll play. Have you gathered kind of what your philosophy is? Would you like to do an exempt tournament someplace nice? I know fans like that, but sometimes coaches have agendas that they feel is better for the team.
Yeah, no, I think each year we want to grow our schedule. Each year, next year, hopefully we're in a tournament that's a little bit more of a national high profile. And then year 3, we want to be in one a little bit better. And I think year 4 and 5, there's some heavy hitters we're going to be involved with, which is exciting. I mean, that's what you want. If you can get your program to a point where you think you're an NCAA tournament team, I like it because it's the same format. Like NCAA tournament, Big Ten tournament, if you want to win those championships, you don't know who you're going to play. You have a general idea of who's in the field, but you don't know. So when you're at that level, it does prepare you, gives you kind of a preseason feel of, we got to be ready on a one-day prep of picking up a scout, not knowing. I think all that stuff is great. So, no, I'm all for it. I'm all for playing in tournaments that give us national recognition, that can showcase our school, our university on the national scene, to get in with some of the big boys where we want to be competing at. And so, I definitely expect each year us to search out and seek and hopefully be invited to some of those higher level deals.
All right. So one of the all-time great questions of the old coach, Richard Pitino, during this time, I asked him when the Vikings were playing at TCF Bank Stadium, then TCF Bank Stadium, does it help recruiting-wise to have that on the national showcase? Well, I asked him that the day after it was minus 8 degrees, and the Seahawks and the Vikings played, and he's like, no, it's awful because now everybody sees how cold it is. So in kind of a weird way, I want to ask you this question. The Winter Classic the other night was great. I mean, I watched the pregame, watched a lot of that. It was awesome. Target Field looked amazing. Game wasn't the greatest, obviously, from a Minnesota standpoint, but it really did showcase the state. But is that good for – and I get it, maybe there's not a lot of basketball people watching that, but is it good that the state was on a showcase and it was minus 8 degrees for you guys, or no?
Yeah, no, I think anytime, because we'll use that saying like in the spring and the summer as like a mail out, or you talk about it as a picture. No one's going to remember that it was minus 8. They just see the photo. Yeah. In the moment, yeah, they might catch it, but I don't think many guys we're recruiting were tuned into the hockey game. So like they don't, they don't know that.
Yeah.
So I can still use the image and the pictures and talk about, man, like the NHL decided to have this outdoor hockey game in our state. They picked Minnesota. Same thing. We've had the All-Star game for Major League Baseball. You've had different golf events. You've had the Final Four. You've had the Super Bowl. To me, you market all of that into one and say, look, they're not having this at cities that aren't a major city. They're not having this at places that don't support athletics and support sports and think sports is a big deal and don't follow it. To me, that's all about your fan base, and you can sell that and flip it the right way. So now we'll use every single angle to make Minneapolis feel like a sports town all the way around. And we'll use every single angle we can to gain, national exposure. I think anytime you're on national TV in any sport that showcases your state and your fan base, I always think that's a positive thing.
What is the recruiting calendar like right now? Like what types of things are you focusing on? Obviously, National Signing Day was a couple of months ago. We talked about those kids that are coming next year. So with the season going on, with the high school season, with you guys being on a little bit of a pause here the last couple of weeks, are you able to spend more time on it? Does the NCAA allow that? Kind of update us on that whole thing.
So the timetable doesn't change. We don't get added anything. I'll be honest, I'm a little careful right now because, the last thing you want as an assistant coach or me in an airport, on a crowded Delta flight, and then all of a sudden you go to a high school game and high school game is a free for all. They can't afford the testing that we do here. So you're just hoping that people, are safe, and if they're not feeling good, they don't go to games, or they don't invade your space, or they wear a mask, or they do all those things. But it's almost, rolling the dice more when you're putting those guys or myself out in that type of environment. So, I'll be honest, I told my staff, we're going to kind of put a pause on traveling a little bit right now, just because, you're about to start the Big Ten. There's a lot at stake, and you just want to give yourself every opportunity to play these games. And so we've kind of taken that approach. And I don't know how long we'll kind of put on a recruiting ban. Local stuff might be a little bit different, but as far as national, I've kind of paused it a little bit.
My follow-up would be, how do you communicate that to the players that you might be recruiting and the parents that might, because everybody knows, you were a recruited athlete. attention's good, right? And you notice who's there and who's not. So I'm sure you're not thinking, oh crap, I should probably tell them we're not coming. I'm sure you've thought of this, but how do you communicate that message to them?
Yeah, no, honestly, you're up front and you do tell them. You say, hey, we're going to get out to sea at some point. It's just right now, when things are hot and the numbers are high, we're not going to see anybody. We're going to focus on our team. I think families respect that. They understand that. It's not that, we're saying, hey, we'll see you in the summer. We're never going out again. It's just, hey, right now we got to make sure we get a couple of games under our belt. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I phrased it, is that, you don't want to, my biggest worry was, okay, you come off Christmas where you give guys 3 days. Then if you get a double pause, you legitimately could be looking at over 20 days where you're either inactive as a team or you're not able to compete because of the other team. And I just told them, like, early on, we've got to make sure we get a kind of a buffer of a couple games in, and then you're able to kind of open it up a little bit. But if right off the bat you get hit and you're not playing from December 22nd to middle of January, well, to me, you give yourself no chance. And so we just kind of phrase it like that, and people were very understanding. I think they get it. And then again, like, I'm sure, end of January and February, we'll get back out once we've got a couple games under our belt.
All right, very good. We'll take another break. We have the contested 2. Is that what we're calling it now, JG, coming up after the break?
Yeah, optimistically, I think long contested 2 is good. Stretch 4. Sometimes you never know.
You never know where it goes.
I'm going to come up with 4. Yeah, so we'll start with 2, see where it goes. Last week, Christmas presents, grandma giving him the bad clothes, unbelievable. It's going to be hard to top that one, but we'll give it a shot.
The Will Smith jumpsuit, man. We got to see that on the sideline sometime. That's for sure. We got to see that. All right, we'll take the break. Stay with us. It's Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson from Learfield.
You coming to bed, hon?
Yep, honey, I'll be right there. Just got to turn out the light. Ow! 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 Ah!
Some things never change. Like your kids always leaving tiny toys on the floor for you to step on. And Geico saving folks lots of money on their car insurance.
Sweetie, I think I left the downstairs light on.
Please don't make me go.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Hey everyone, let's all stop what we're doing and take a moment. You see? Every moment can be kind of special. But they can be loud moments, goofy moments, dorky moments, it doesn't matter. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. That's right. They can help save lives by simply washing their hands. Just 20 seconds of thorough hand washing after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside can help fight against the dastardly spread of germs. Armed with only soap and water and hands, your superhero can protect you, your family, and everyone out there in America land. Amazing! Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Okay, man, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. Cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments, because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Show the world that you're tougher than tough. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. They can help save lives by not having play dates. That's right. By replacing get-togethers with virtual play dates and video chats, they can help slow the evil spread of germs. And if your superheroes do go outside, make sure they continue their superhero wing by staying 6 feet away from others to protect everyone in America land. Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. It's Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson. The Gophers in Illini tonight, 6 o'clock, the tip from Williams Arena. Tickets available at gophersports.com. We want to thank Sunbelt Business Advisors. You can check them out at sunbeltminnesota.com as they present our show today. And it's time for we're going to go with the long contested 2. I don't think you've got 4 in you here, JG,
well,
today.
we might have to start calling it the 1 and 1, like we're in the bonus.
You might only get one, yeah.
Yeah, let's see if I can make the first one. I'm not even sure I can. Adam Thielen said something interesting, Ben, after the Vikings beat the Packers a while ago, because obviously, this past weekend they did not beat the Green Bay Packers. It wasn't particularly close. They're out of playoff contention. But he said that as a Minnesotan, when the Vikings beat the Packers, like everything is better. Like kids can wear their jerseys to school because we've got all these Wisconsin people over here. You know that. We've talked about that before. Does it hurt you as much as it hurts all of us when the Vikings lose and don't make the playoffs? Given your football background, given you're a sports fan, like I'm assuming you got out of bed, this on Monday morning. But it's something when the Vikings lose, man, especially to the Packers, it just hurts. And I thought Thielen articulated that well as a native Minnesotan himself.
It hurts. For example, I walk in today to practice and Luke Lowy's wearing his Packers jersey.
Ooh. Exactly right.
So you got to deal with that crap and seeing it.
Is he now suspended for the Illinois game?
I told him, I said, it's going to impact tomorrow. I don't care what you think. It's going to impact tomorrow. No, but I think that's the thing. It's when you grow up, kind of seeing the different rivalries, especially with football, there is a pain that you feel because what you have to deal with, right? The Instagram posts, the Facebook posts, the Twitter posts, the jerseys, the bragging, the whole nine. The next day that you got to encounter, I think is the thing that none of us look forward to.
Well, and they're everywhere. Wisconsin people are everywhere. And do you use that you should use that in recruiting, that no one from Minnesota is going over to live in Milwaukee.
I talk about that all the time.
You should, because I don't ever hear that from my family that lives in Wisconsin. Like, oh, we got all these Minnesota people, peacocking around in their Justin Jefferson jerseys. Like, but the inverse, like all the Wisconsin people move over here. So that should be, speaking of the pamphlets you send out, that's what we got to be sending out, man.
Oh, we talk about it. It's up there.
So it bugs me.
I do have a quick follow-up
Kramer.
to that, just in general, in regard to Thielen's comment. And now, as the head coach of the University of Minnesota, obviously the Gophers play the Badgers. In football, they've got the Axe, and now Minnesota has that. And I know that is, something to be proud of as well. But do you, obviously there's an extra heartbeat to that rivalry. And when you are part on the winning side, do you feel what Thielen feels, but in a Gopher sense, that, hey, wear that Gopher hoodie, wear that Gopher sweatshirt, put the flag on the window of your car or what have you?
Yeah, no, you do. I think it's a little bit different with basketball just because you play them twice.
Yep,
so
right.
There's not like the buildup is just different. So I think it's a different type of rivalry, but I do think there's for sure a sense of pride. There's a sense of, ownership. It's a game that I think, they would probably say the same. I think it's good for our league. I think it's good for sports. I think, both sides have a lot of respect for each other, and that's the good part about it. And I think both sides don't want to lose. And so I think that's the thing, is that it's a pride deal, especially with basketball. And it's something that, I think our guys know the intensity of it and look forward to those two games every year.
You mentioned that you don't think a lot of guys you're recruiting were necessarily watching the Winter Classic. I'm the only person that grew up in Edina that can't skate. Literally, that's been proven by the city council, by the mayor. I'm the only one, because you kind of grow up and you have to do that. That's part of the birthright of growing up there. Can you skate? And how cold would it have to be for you not to skate? That's a clunky question, but did pond hockey ever enter into your mind growing up here in Minnesota?
No, it's funny. I actually played for 1 year, and it was really young. I want to say maybe I got talked into maybe 5th grade.
By who?
It just got so cold. I had a cousin that played in it, and it got so cold, and I was like, dude, this is ridiculous. And it was one of those deals where it's like in the morning, you got the parents shoveling off the rink because it's outside, and it was just like, this is so stupid. And it ran into basketball, and so I was like, well, I'm really not liking it now, but I gave it a go. And I was a kid, I tried every sport, and did it, and I just knew right away that, like, it was fun, get to fly around, but like those 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock games, it was not for me. And so when you can't feel your toes, that's not fun. That's like a different type of sport.
So could you play? I mean, were you all right?
Yeah, no, I could skate. I was fast. I couldn't do the hockey skate, so I just would drag my foot until I slowed down. So there'll be times when I would be off, and either I'd run into the goalie, and after I'd score it and just run into the net, or I would score it and either just drag my foot and end up getting pretty good at the drag, or I just run into the boards. It was like one of the two. But it was fun.
Yeah, it's worth it. Now, so I saw Joe Mauer got to skate around. I think Glenn Perkins did as well. I don't remember, like, what people don't know about Mauer, and you probably know this, you probably played against him somewhere, because he played for Jimmy Lee Reck when we were, growing up, and like he was like just kind of this dude on the team, and like no one knew who he was, and the next thing you know, he was winning the Player of the Year for football and baseball. I don't think I ever remember him playing football, and of course, he was probably the best skater on the ice the other day at Target Field, right? I mean, just by definition, that's Joe Mauer.
Yeah, no, I would love to get back on the ice and give it a try.
Well, PJ Fleck went to practice a couple of years ago, and they put him in goalie gear, and he was trying to knock
on
shots
skates though.
On skates, yeah.
He's on skates.
So you got to talk to Motzko, and let's get that happening. That'd be fun to see Ben Johnson, but you'd be more of a forward, maybe, not a goalie, I think.
Yeah, no goalie. No. Yeah, no. You gotta be like Eric Lindros. I
I want to see the toe drag, and I want to see them just run it into the
Ben
boards.
Johnson,
yeah,
stop.
The toe drag is real now. Yeah, the toe drag was real.
All right, we're on that. We're gonna get a hold of Coach Bob Motzko, and we're gonna get Ben Johnson over there at practice someday in gear. That'll be fun. All right, Guardsy, good work there on the contested 2.
Well, I think I made the front end. I think it was back of the rim on the second one.
It dropped. It rattled around.
Now we're going the other way. Now we got to get a stop and talk about Illinois when we come back to get the show back on track.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll take a break. We've got to talk about the Fighting Illini. They're in town. It's a game tonight, 6 o'clock at Williams Arena. Stay with us. It's Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson from Learfield.
You can guarantee yourself a Minnesota maroon and gold win when you sell your business with Sunbelt Business Advisors. Sunbelt is a local, alumni-owned company and proud sponsor of Gopher Athletics. Sunbelt provides business brokerage services to small businesses, as well as mergers and acquisition services for companies up to $100 million in revenue. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com for a free confidential value range. Minnesota's largest seller of companies. sunbeltminnesota.com.
Visit the University of Minnesota bookstores and discover the area's largest selection of U of M and Golden Gopher apparel and novelties for fans of all ages. From the latest fashions to traditional favorites, the University of Minnesota bookstore is your one-stop shop. See what's in store for you. Visit the University of Minnesota bookstore at Kaufman Memorial Union in the heart of the U of M campus, or shop online at bookstores.umn.edu. And never miss a sale. Subscribe to the Gopher Fan Favorites email list. You'll be glad you did.
No matter what kind of vehicle you're looking for, your Northland Ford dealers have you covered with exclusive offers on top-notch cars, trucks, and SUVs for every kind of lifestyle. Like the Ford F-150, a beast with brains that makes even the toughest tasks look easy. Or the Ford Explorer and Escape, SUVs that the whole family can appreciate. Plus, the Ford Bronco Sport, an SUV built for thrill seekers and outdoor enthusiasts. Visit your Northland Ford dealers today to find a great deal on the perfect one for you.
When it comes to home renovation or project cleanup, Waste Management's Bagster Bag is one strong receiver. The Bagster dumpster in a bag can hold up to 3,300 pounds of debris. That's about the weight of the entire Golden Gophers first team offense plus 3 cheerleaders. The Bagster Bag is just the right size for kitchen and bathroom remodels or basement and garage cleanups. And it can cost 50% less than renting a full-size dumpster, making it the perfect solution for your next project. To make the Bagster Bag part of your cleanup playbook, visit thebagster.com.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
I'm Little Teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Steven.
Who said that?
Me, down here.
Ugh, what are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a banana slug, Steven.
What are you doing in my room?
I'm your sense of adventure. It's been a long time since we've had an adventure in the forest.
Mom took me to the forest last year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. It's our final segment, Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson, Mike Grimm, and Justin Gard with you. The Illini and Gophers tonight at 6 at Williams Arena. And again, our thanks to Sunbelt Business Advisors for sponsoring the show. You can visit them at sunbeltminnesota.com. And don't forget, you can also ask your question for Ben Johnson. We had Tom from Owatonna. He had our question of the week earlier. You can go to gophersports.com/askthecoach, and you can possibly win a $25 gift card to the University of Minnesota bookstore. All right, it's back to Big Ten play. Neither team coach has played since December the 22nd, so I think it's 13 days. Obviously, the holiday break was in the middle. You thought you were going to have a game. They thought they might have a game. They canceled theirs. Alcorn State canceled yours. So kind of take us through the mindset tonight and what you expect to see on the floor.
I expect guys to be engaged, to be ready to go. We've had a great couple of days of prep and practice, and I know they're ready to go out there and compete against a different body, different guys. And obviously when you start back up with Big Ten play, there's a different level of intensity. There's a different level of excitement and juice and energy. And hopefully we got a big-time crowd that we can feed off of. But I think it's a great opportunity for our guys to go out there on a national setting and show what we can do and compete against one of the best teams in the country that's well coached, that's got a ton of talent, that's going to create a ton of issues and problems and challenges, but ones that we're definitely looking forward to.
Purdue has kind of taken on the role of favorite, but in the preseason, most people had Illinois as the preseason favorite. Kofi Coburn's a preseason player of the year. What do you see from the Fighting Illini here from their non-conference schedule?
Yeah, I mean, when you got a guy like Kofi that is kind of a generational type physical player, it creates all types of problems. So he's a unique challenge. The benefit is we kind of went up against a little bit similar of a big in Hunter Dickinson at Michigan. But both those guys, put so much pressure on you defensively that it's a unique challenge, and they've done a really good job surrounding him with guys that can play make, with guys that can make a ton of threes and can really score it from the perimeter. And so it's the challenge of, how do you defend them? And do you do it consistent? Do you mix it up? How do you take away, some of the stuff they want to do on the perimeter? So it's going to be a game that we're going to have to be really, really locked in for all 40 minutes. There's not, definitely can't be a lot of room for error. But defensively, we're going to have to play our best, and we're going to have to find our rhythm early offensively and figure out where we can get shots and kind of expose what they want to do defensively. But like I told our guys, is from here on out, you gotta win with your defense, and you gotta be able to. That's the one thing that night in and night out, you got to rely on it. It's got to carry with you on the road, but especially at home, you got to rely on your defense to keep you in these games.
Well, I think Brad Underwood did when he first got to Illinois what you're trying to do this year in terms of setting the style that he wanted to play. I remember even that first year. First of all, I remember him at Stephen F. Austin, with the tournaments and everything that he did there. When he got that job, I'm like, well, that's a problem because that dude is a good coach. And they grinded a game down to the wire, I want to say, his first year there at the Barn, where it was just rugged defense identity. Like, what has he been able to establish there, specifically defensively? Because I think that's a big part of their identity.
Yeah, it is. Obviously they play extremely hard. The cool thing with Brad is you kind of seen him morph. When he first got there were a lot of deny.
Yep.
A lot of up the line and a lot of try to take you out of your stuff and overplay and force you to make everything a one-on-one game. And now he's kind of flipped it. Obviously, personnel impacts that with Kofi. You're not gonna go out there and pressure from all 5 spots. So now it's kind of more of a traditional Big Ten, although they do climb in you. They've got the athletes to press up and force tempo. But the thing about it too is they're very similar. They don't play many guys. They're very similar to us in terms of how deep they go in their bench, the number of guys and the type of minutes that their starters log and the 1 or 2 guys that come in off the bench. So I think there's probably more similarities than differences in terms of just style of play, not personnel, but just style of play and how we're going to go about things. So again, it'll be a big time challenge. Like, you guys know he does a great job and they're used to winning. And they're where we want our program to be, where the expectation is that, you're trying to compete for a Big Ten title and you're trying to compete for a run in the NCAA tournament. And so our mindset's got to be just like theirs. We've got to compete like we're trying to do the same thing they are. That this game can't mean more to them than it does to us. And I think if we have that approach, then hopefully you give yourself an opportunity to win at the end.
Last one for you. One of the things, you're sitting at 10-1, and I think one of the things that's impressed me the most in terms of, a good business model, so to speak, is that you have on the offensive end been able to create a setting that gets open shots for your guys, and on the defensive end, create a setting that's gotten contested shots for the opposition. And obviously, that's what every coach's goal would be. But take me through that mindset of we want to get open shots on our end and force contested shots on the other. And to me, that might be the biggest reason you guys are sitting here at 10-1.
Yeah, I think our guys have done a great job buying into both our offense and defensive system and our style of play and how we want to do things. And, I know we're top 3 in the country in, 3-point field goal defense. And that's something that, we pride ourselves on, is we want to try to make, things a game of 2. And I think it's shown and they've been locked in and they understand game plans and terminology and understand effort. To me, defense, so much of it is technique and effort. And are you motivated to guard? Do you value that defense matters? And they bought into that. So we talk about, you win with your defense, you have fun with your offense. And that's what we try to do offensively. Try to space you out. And I think we got a lot of versatility. We got guys that can make shots from all 5 spots. And I think they've bought into, sometimes you got to move it to move it. You got to get it reverse. You got to get multiple touches. You got to, have dual threats that can all do things. And I think, when you do that and you play that way, it frees it up and it takes pressure off, 1 or 2 guys that have to carry the load. And do we got guys that are capable of putting up big numbers? We definitely do. But we're a team that our strength is in our numbers. And so we need to utilize that. And I think our guys, they enjoy playing the way we do, offensively, that they enjoy the unselfishness. We got a great group of guys that understand how to play, and I think that helps. And it's proven that we can be competitive this way. So I think that's the biggest key is when guys believe and they know that you're putting them in a position to be successful, there's definitely a lot more buy-in, or it's easier to have buy-in. And we just want to keep it going.
Very good. Well, let's keep it going tonight. We'll see you at the barn.
Sounds good. See you guys. Thanks.
All right. He's the head coach, Ben Johnson. For Justin Gard, I'm Mike Grimm. We'll talk to you tonight from Williams Arena, 6 o'clock the tip. This has been Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson from Learfield.
When it comes to home renovation or project cleanup, Waste Management's Bagster Bag is one strong receiver. The Bagster Dumpster in a Bag can hold up to 3,300 pounds of debris. That's about the weight of the entire Golden Gophers first team offense plus 3 cheerleaders. The Bagster Bag is just the right size for kitchen and bathroom remodels or basement and garage cleanups. And it can cost 50% less than renting a full-size dumpster, making it the perfect solution for your next project. To make the Bagster Bag part of your cleanup playbook, visit thebagster.com.
Midland Hills Country Club is well known as one of the finest golf clubs in the Twin Cities. The club has totally renovated its classic Seth Rayner design course back to its original design. Enjoy a meticulously maintained course and experience what Midland Hills Country Club has to offer. Midland Hills is conveniently located in Roseville, just 10 minutes from either downtown. A limited number of memberships are available. The club offers a great golfing experience and a comfortable social atmosphere. Visit midlandhillscc.org.
On the Gopher Sports Network, from Learfield, Gopher Basketball Weekly with Ben Johnson has been brought to you by alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors, Minnesota's largest seller of companies. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Gopher Sports Network.